It's in that new area on Ormond.
Okay, we are live. Just about.
No,
There we
you're
are.
live, but I'm not.
You're funny. Not. Okay, so we are here, and I hope you can see and hear us. And who else is here? Let us know. Say hello. Hello, whoever out there. And so, oh, there's Donna. Donna's here. Hi, Donna. And we're just waiting for other people to join us, and then we'll get started. So, Donna, what are you doing today? Anything exciting? It drives me nuts with the delay on all these things.
Yeah.
Trying to keep up to see what we are. Oh, here's okay, Mary's on here. Well, how come Mary's showing up
there? Mary's there.
Oh, there. Okay, that's the delay on that one. Hi, Mary.
Hi, Mary.
We're just tinkering with the technology as usual. And wait,
no, Teresa.
Teresa's here. Hi, Teresa. The YouTube ads are alive. Oh, when did you get an ad when you first joined on? It seemed when I did too, because I joined on with my iPad to see what you see, and I got an ad as soon as I did that. Oh, you sold it, Teresa. So, if you don't mind me asking, why did you get rid of it? Were you having the same problems as I was having with mine? I think you were talking about this. Sorry if I don't remember everything. I'm old. And how did you sell it? Did you take it to a dealership, or did you just sell it online, or did you have somebody? Hi, Bonnie.
Hi, Bonnie.
And we're just having just a little light chit chat here, back and forth, people, just for another minute. As we get everybody else in and caught up here, and then we'll start with what we're going to talk about today.
We're nice and warm today, that's for sure.
Yeah, what's our temperature here?
I'm not sure. I was just going to check. I haven't checked. I've been outside, but I don't know what the temperature is. It's 24 degrees Celsius.
24 degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
Well, that's not terribly hot.
No, but it's decent.
It's nice. Bonnie says she loves your shirt, Walter.
Thank you. That's my new one from my new class.
He'll be talking about the bowling shirt in a moment.
And actually, it's okay. I like it. But actually, I prefer a collar like the one Steve's wearing.
No, this isn't one of your shirts.
No, it isn't one of my shirts, but I like that collar better than this one. But it's okay. I like it. It's good to know how to do this one. The color works a bit different than the other ones.
Okay, we might as well get started. Anybody else that's coming in will join us, I'm sure, once they get here. So, hello everybody. Hope everybody's doing okay. Lots of things to talk about today. Our general chit-chat at the beginning. And some things in our news right now that we were just talking about before we went on air that's really got us a little bit PO'd. And then we're going to go to our main theme, which was by Bonnie's suggestion last week. We're going to tell you our coming out stories. Since we're going to keep with the theme of Pride Month here in June in our area. And actually it's Pride Month pretty much everywhere in North America, I think, in June. There may be a few places that don't do it until September or August. But generally speaking, June is the big Pride Month. Now, Teresa says, I wasn't having so much problems, just the needle threader. Just couldn't justify how that much dollars in real estate tied up in my embroidery machine. So I found I'm just not that into it. Yeah, well, good. Glad you were able to find somebody to buy it. The needle threaders, I know how to fix them.
The problem, though, with the 15,001 is that needle threader is an automatic needle threader, not a manual.
Yep.
And it goes so fast that it's hard
to... Yeah, fix. And really, I found a couple of YouTube videos about how to fix them. It's not an exact science, and that's why I'm not really going to ever do a video and show, because it's really dependent upon which machine you have. As Walter says, the 15,000 is a totally automatic threader. Most of them are just a pull down thing that snaps in. And to be honest, I never tried to fix the needle threader on my 15,000 because I didn't know at the time until I discovered this video. And that video is in our show notes from a few episodes back of the Idiot Quilter, and so very chatty. So anyways, so Bonnie says it's warm in New Brunswick too. That's nice. That's good. Well, it is
nice almost, when it's warm in Canada.
Yeah. It's not quite summer yet, June the 21st, although I think that's the
summer solstice too.
Yeah, summer solstice, but there's two names. One, summer came June the 6th, and that's the something or other. And then there's the other one, June to 21st, was the summer solstice. But there's a name for both of those things.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know. I guess we can call it summer if we want to call it summer. It's summer.
The only problem here is that we haven't had a lot of rain.
No.
So it's...
How's your grass doing?
Actually, it's doing pretty good.
Is it?
I have to water it all the time.
No. So. Walter's trying to grow grass in our
backyard.
Our
backyard kind of died last year, so
it's been dead for 26 years. But
no, it was really pretty good for a long time. But last year was really bad, so I put new soil down. We have a fair bit of weeds still. Soil down and some grass seed. It was either kill the weeds first and then try and rejuvenate the lawn, or put up with the weeds and hope the grass will choke some of them out a bit. But and then try and get rid of them. It seems to be growing a little thicker now. But I have to go out there and water it all the time because the grass seed won't start to grow unless you get it wet.
Well, we haven't done much with our backyard in the 26 years we've lived here. Much to the chagrin, I'm sure, of our neighbors who can see over our fence.
It used to be really nice and lush and green all the time when we had regular rain, but the last few years we haven't been getting regular rain, so our neighbors on the one side have let it go, and it's Weed City over there, so it's creeping into our yard. And so I've decided I think I'm going to start putting some gardens in as well, because I'm fed up with trying to keep the grass going.
Well, on the other side, those neighbors, they've got a beautiful backyard. They have it all filled in with flowers and plants and extended their patio, and it all looks really nice. And they're the ones that I'm sure if they see over our fence, they probably go, ooh. But actually, when we see over their fence and then we look at our backyard, we kind of go, ooh. But anyways, Teresa says we've had a ton of rain over the last 2 days, made up for none for the last month. Not complaining. I don't mow grass anymore. Yeah, I don't either. And have I ever?
I do. Actually, I helped the lady across the road from us. She was having trouble yesterday. She was having trouble starting her lawnmower. And she's 91.
She's 91 and cuts her own grass, yeah.
And I asked her, I said, if you want, I can help you cut the grass. She, no, I just needed help to start the mower.
Jeez, that's pretty good. Far cry from my mother. Speaking of which, my mother. Okay, so nothing really new. She seems to be adjusting to the new place quite well. Seems to like the food. I'm waiting for that to turn, but she says it's really good there, much better than the old place. That just means
that the desserts are good.
Yeah, must be getting desserts on a regular basis. My mother and her desserts. But, of course, her television set hasn't been working properly. They got it hooked up, and actually we just took over the other day the bracket that we needed to order so it could be mounted on the wall in her room arrived, so I took it over and dropped it off, and sometime next week they'll probably get it installed. But when I was talking to her on FaceTime, I could see her TV set in the background. I asked her, is your TV running okay? Well, no, she says. Well, I never know whether it is or not. And I said to her, did you turn it on? Well, yes. Well, there was a staff member in the room with her helping her with the FaceTime. And she said, well, she'd try it out. So she went over, and she knew, she was worse than my mother. She knew nothing. She comes and shows me 2 remote controls. Well, there are 2 remote controls. One is for the Bell system, the provider of the TV system. So, it's on 5. So, it's an internet television, basically. And the other one is your remote control for the actual TV itself, which after you've initially got things set up with your service provider, you don't need to really touch that remote again. So I told her, don't worry about that remote. The only one you need is the one that says Bell on it. Now I said, but then she said, well, it was coming up and it was a blue screen and I could see that. So it meant that the right input setting wasn't on it. So that means you need the television remote, not the Bell one. So I told her what to do, and we went through a few things, and she couldn't figure it out. And she says, I really don't know what I'm doing. And she says, I'll get somebody around, who can look at this, who knows what they're doing. I said, okay, fine. And I find that very frustrating because what I would do is go over there if we could, but we still can't. We would just look at it and go, yeah, okay, and set it up. But what gets my goat is that the people that are working there are younger than my mother, and in a lot of cases they're younger than we are, and they can't figure out how to use the remotes for a television set.
Or how to set it up.
Like, what do they do when they're at home? They have someone else do it or what?
Yeah, probably.
I don't get that. Figure it out. It's not brain surgery. Well, apparently it is. But anyways.
Well, the other part of the problem is that it depends on how it's been hooked up too. Because if it's been hooked up through the HDMI cables, which is what they're supposed to be hooked up as, then you go through the HDMI. But those sets can be hooked up via a cable, or they can be hooked up via video thing. So
I don't know.
It depends on how they're hooked up, and unless you can look at the back of the hookups to see how they've hooked it up, you don't really know.
Well, regardless, I shouldn't have to worry about it.
No, you shouldn't. Well, especially now.
Yeah.
When you can't.
So, anyways, we'll see. In the meantime, I did put in a request to talk to the nurse practitioner. Took her a couple of days to get back to me. I wanted to go over my mother's, basically her health care, like her physical, mental condition, everything like that. And actually, the nurse practitioner suggested that she set up a healthcare conference with other people there at the home as well as herself to go over the whole thing with my mother, which I thought was a really great idea because we have not had one of those. We're supposed to have one of these once every year, but then COVID happened, and the last one we had was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So I said that would be great. So she said, well, she'd get back to me in a day or two and let me know about time and date and everything set up. She said it'll probably take about 2 weeks. Okay, fine. Well, I did get an email the other day from another person who seems to be the person that if I ever need anything done, she's the one I contact all the time. And she said, yeah, she was getting that arranged and she'd let me know, I'm assuming this week coming, as to when we're going to do this thing. So I want to go over all of the drugs that she's on. It's weird. They send me a statement electronically of the company they deal with for her drugs. Now, most of her drugs are covered because she's over 65 and our government does cover a lot of those drugs. But there is one new drug they put her on. They took something away and put this drug on because it's supposed to help her with the arthritis pain, but also it has something to do with her depression medication. So, I don't know. She's been on that now for a few weeks, but it's costing us about $32 a pop. Like for a month's supply. And I want to know if there's a generic. If there's a generic, it'll be covered. But then I saw the invoice, the latest invoice, and noticed that wasn't charged. It didn't come out that much. So I don't know, maybe they got enough that lasts her 3 months. So these are the things I want to know. I have a list of all of her drugs, but I don't know if she's on some of these because they don't show up on the invoice anymore. Yeah, she needs it on. Oh, God, that would be something else, Bonnie. If she ever got an Alexa, she'd be complaining.
Actually, she wouldn't use it because she'd be afraid of it.
Yeah, she would be. But anyways, who have we said hello to? Marilyn. Hello, Marilyn. Said hello, Jeannie. And anything. But, yeah. So, she's doing fine, I guess. Still a few bugs to work out, to be expected. Now, I got a phone call yesterday. One of my mother's longtime friends, who my mother has not heard from in a while. And I get this, the phone rings, I answer it, and this woman's voice goes, is this Lorna's room? but I recognized the voice, and of course her name came up on the phone too. So I said, "No, it's you got Stephen." Yeah, she must have been got the wrong number, and she's trying to get a hold of my mother. Anyways, we had a nice little conversation. I've known this lady for my whole life. Anyways, in fact, I went to school with her daughter, and anyways, I filled her in on everything with my mother, and that she'd moved, and told her how to get a hold of her and whether or not Mom would answer the phone, and it was kind of a nice talk to have with her. But she's 89 years old. She volunteers at the nursing home that's close to where she lives. Now, of course, she hasn't been able to go in there during COVID, but she's just biting at the chomp to get back in. She's been a volunteer for them for 37 years. And she loves that particular nursing home. It's one my mother wanted to get into originally too, but it had a waiting list of 5 to 7 years. And it was a brand new one too, because the old one that was on the same site, they tore down and built this new one. Then they had a fire in the new one. Just after...
No, in the old one.
Or was it the old one? As they were building the new one.
Yeah, it seems to be convenient.
Yeah, it seemed to be. So, but anyways, everything's fine. But it was nice to hear from her. Caught up on who's dead, because at 89, I guess that's the thing you do. But, oh well. What can you do? So, Mom's fine. So, Walter's shirt, or as I like to call it, the bowling shirt.
Yeah, it's done. We finished it last week on the last class. Yeah, well, it wasn't completely finished, but I had to finish it. But
well, you said you weren't fond of the collar.
I didn't like the collar because it has a big piece inside, and it's okay. It's just it's okay, and I like the way it looks. It's just not my style.
Yeah. Bonnie says, "Well, the delay is very long." Yeah, it could be. Can't do anything about it, so we have to put up with it. That has nothing to do with us. That has everything to do with everybody else's connections, and the connection we go through, and the connection the world goes through, and YouTube goes through, and yeah, you just chalk it up. I cease to worry about things like that with YouTube these days or anything, because I can't do anything about it. So I'm not going to lose sleep over it. But that's life.
Yeah, but actually,
what?
Even though you can't tell on this shirt that well, but I did match the pocket.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did. So it sort of like disappears into the...
That's your cheap fabric,
It's kind of a blob. Yes, my cheap fabric. It's the stuff I bought 3 meters for $20.
Ooh, bargain.
Yeah.
Bargain. So. Cheap shirt. But anyway, so that's all you've been working on?
Well, that, and I finished that other shirt that I had. I just put the buttons on it.
Yeah.
I'll wear it maybe next week.
Fashion
show. And then tomorrow I have a class. We're doing a jeans jacket, and tomorrow I'm doing a class that we're supposed to go over pattern changes.
Yeah, but you're not making the jean jacket out of jean material.
No, I'm making it out of a beige cotton twill.
Mm-hmm. So, well, that'll be fun. When's he going to get you on to making a whole 3-piece man suit?
Oh, don't talk about that. Actually, somebody was asking about, he was making a blazer for himself.
Oh, yeah?
And basically, he got so frustrated with it, it's in the back of the closet right now. And somebody said, well, you should teach us how to do that. And he goes, no, I haven't even finished mine yet.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's what they're going to ask for next.
Well, who knows? Who knows? Actually, there's one lady in our class that keeps wanting to do patterns that nobody else wants to do.
No. What? Like what?
No, I don't know. She wants to do stuff for herself.
Oh.
And the whole thing about this class was to sort of do men's clothing, not women's clothing. So,
well, everybody's loving your shirt.
Thanks.
Bonnie says that lady deserves a medal for 37 years. Yeah, actually, I think the residents in the home deserve a medal for 37 years too, with putting up with her. She's a nice lady, but she's one of those kind of people that can walk into a room and suck all the oxygen out of it. So, if you know what I mean by that kind of reference.
She's a nice lady.
She is a nice lady, yes. Hi, Jules. But that is actually remarkable that she's been there that many years. And 89, and still going strong. I mean, I hadn't talked to her in years, and I haven't seen her in a long, long time. And, she sounded just like she the last time I talked to her or saw her.
Well, it's like the lady across the road that I helped start her lawnmower. I talked to her yesterday, and she's I wouldn't have put her at 91. Like,
No.
I would maybe thought she was more like in her 70s. But it's not, she's pretty
Well, she's cutting her
mobile.
own
Yeah.
grass.
She says,
I mean,
well, I
really.
would phone my son, but he lives 20 minutes away, so.
No, Bonnie, I know you're not complaining. You don't see what we see, but we're watching this in 3 different ways. We see immediately, then we see a delay on YouTube. That's the feedback to us. And then I'm watching it on my iPad, and that's what you guys see. And yeah, I can see the delay with it too. So here, let's do a little experiment. I'm going to hold up my finger and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Yeah, the delay is long.
There's 12 seconds on one and
21 on the one
other.
that you guys see. So yeah, that's quite a delay. Yeah, but like I said, not much we can do about that. According to the statistics that are up on our screen right now, our connection is excellent, it says, whatever that means. So, but anyways, we'll just carry on with it all.
It's the whole loop through the internet.
Yeah. Teresa says every garment sewer has back of the closet projects. So,
Yeah, well,
so
you
do
get
quilters.
tricked off with something, and then that's okay. Actually, I've got a polo shirt that I haven't finished because we just never finished it.
Oh,
in the
I
class.
forgot that you worked on a polo shirt.
Yeah, I have another polo. I have one that I finished, and then we did another polo shirt. It was supposed to be a freebie class, and the instructor on the freebie class got a little bit bogged down partway through, and was really ticked off. He never posted the video, and he won't go there.
Oh,
because nobody's really asked. And there was one very annoying person in the class that I think he got very frustrated with, and that was part of it. So.
no. Well, that happens. But anyways, Donna says she doesn't have a delay. Donna, you wouldn't be able to tell.
No, you can't tell because we have 3 screens going right now. We have a screen that is real time, right? Yeah. And then we have another screen that there's a 12-second delay, and then the third screen there's a 21-second delay.
You see, what we're looking at down here is my laptop. That's what's feeding everything through. But it feeds it through something on YouTube for live that you connect to for the streaming. And that's where there's a 12-second delay for us. So I will look down here, and then I look up there. I don't see the same thing. It's 12 seconds delayed. But then over here I've got my iPad, and I'm watching it as though I'm just like anybody else that I checked in like you guys did. And so I see exactly what you see. And that's a 21-second delay from when we do it. But anyways, it's okay.
You wouldn't notice it, but we notice it.
Yeah. But well, put it this way: as long as it's not buffering and cutting out, then we're okay. Okay. Hi, Marilyn.
Hi, Marilyn.
So I don't know if I said hello to Jules. Hi, Jules. And no, Jules, the book has not shown up. So I don't know what you found out at your end. If there's anything you can find up, but I don't know. It's a mystery. Okay, so what have I been working on? That's all you've been working on? Well, actually, I made another bag for Walter. Here's the bag. You saw my bag there a week or so ago that I made. And I said I was making one for Walter, so I did. And there it is. And do you like it?
I very much like it.
Are you happy with it?
Very happy.
Is it the best thing since sliced bread that you've ever seen in your life? What are you going to do to earn it? Never mind. And here, I like this
dinner.
This little feature. I ordered a couple of these. Says handmade. They're key pull or zipper pulls, and I think they just kind of finish it off kind of nicely. Little brass thing here. And what are you going to keep in it?
Well, I think I'm going to keep my regular sewing supplies that I normally use. Right now I've got them all laying in my drawer.
Oh, it goes with your shirt.
And I loose stuff all the time. So I think I'll like to keep all my regular stuff in here.
Yeah. Now I'll let you in on a little secret. This morning, after I got it all finished, and I'm putting that little key pull on the side of it, where the zipper is. So I opened this up, and you can stick your hand right up through here.
Oh.
Because I must have missed sewing this part. This is actually the pocket is a piece, but it goes on there. But I guess I missed the instruction of
the top stitch.
So but I was able to do that. I mean, without a problem with it. But yeah, there's always something that you leave out, right? But there you go. It's all done. Now, I had somebody send me an email. I just got it before we went live on the air, and they said they really liked that bag and wanted to know when I was doing Walter's bag whether I would do it as a tutorial and post it. And my answer was no, because one, I've got the bag done already, and right now I'm not planning to make any more of that bag at the present time. And second of all, I can't really do a tutorial for that particular bag because that is a pattern from byannie.com. She does already provide you videos on her site. You pay for them. They're cheap. It's $5, and actually, if you buy the pattern, they usually send with the pattern a coupon for $5 that pays for the video. But it's very detailed. Her videos are very, very good. Her instructions are excellent in them. Very easy to follow. So I can't do a tutorial on how to do that bag because I'd be violating their copyright. So sorry. And also in general, I've had people ask me, especially for the Idiot Quilter and things like that, about doing tutorials for various things. My gut reaction right now is to say, no, I probably won't do tutorials. And there's a reason for that. Doing tutorials is extremely time consuming. If you do a tutorial for any project, you've got to double the time because you have to do the camera work and the editing for it to make it clear. And also, you've got to be able to set up your equipment so that people can really see what you're doing. The other reason I don't intend to do a tutorial on anything is because, generally speaking, there are tutorials already on YouTube and other places that you can go to and check out how to do various things. So it's, in my way of thinking, it's kind of redundant. You know, why reinvent the wheel if it's already done? It's already created, right? Now, that's not to say that there might not be something in the future that I would not do a tutorial for. I might. If it's something that is easy enough to record and is something I think is somewhat unique from what else might be out there. You know, like, for example, I did put up a brief, it's not really a tutorial, it's more of a brief explanation of how I did my attic window original art piece that I created the backgrounds and I used my printer or my computer for that. Then I embroidered over top of it and that, all that kind of stuff. And that's back a couple of episodes ago on the Idiot Quilter. Those kind of things are kind of unique because they're one of a kind. Those kind of things I might do tutorials on down the road, but right now I don't have any any great plans to do tutorials on things because,
Well, not only that, did you say that with the Buy Annie bag you could buy a video?
Yeah, that's what I just said. I just explained. Yeah, you get the video for it, and her videos are very good. They're very clear. In fact, I had to go to it again this morning because it gets tricky when you're sewing. Like this piece right here, these two side pieces and the bottom are all one piece, and you have the zipper pocket attached to that, and you have this pocket attached to that. And then you've got to get these two pieces, the front and back panel, onto that. Now, any of you that may have made bags like this before probably go, yeah, you know how to do this. It isn't hard, but when you read it in the explanation, it's a little confusing, even though her patterns, By Annie's patterns, are very well written. And she does provide a video showing you step by step how to do it. And the thing about her videos that are good is she doesn't she might speed up some things, but she doesn't do a lot of cutting. Like, okay, now you just do this, and then she cuts to a new one, and you go, wait, how'd you get from there to there? No, you see how she got from point A to point B on them. So I do have another one of her patterns. I mentioned that last week. I haven't started it yet. I don't know when I'll start it, but it's a little bit more complex, I think, than, well, I don't know if it's more complex than that bag or not. It might be. So we'll see. But yeah, my answer to the tutorial, I am flattered that you should ask me, that you have confidence in me to be able to do that kind of thing. But unfortunately, at this moment in time, I don't have any plans to do any kind of major tutorials from it. Hi, Jackie. Yeah, Jules, I know.
It may still come.
It may still come.
It takes sometimes if you mail it just standard class, it takes quite a while to get to Canada. So
yeah, Marilyn says she loves the contrast on your shirt, and she also loves bags, but bags look like they would be confusing, and I have no patience. I never thought that I'd be able to make bags either, but you know something? If you take your time, read the pattern carefully, don't be in a rush, yeah, because I'm like you, I don't have a lot of patience either with it, then yeah, I think you can do it. And once you do one, and it doesn't matter what style it is, you learn a lot of this. There's a lot of things that are similar between all bags into what you're doing. So, what are you trying? Trying to find a mistake?
Yeah, is that a mistake?
There's absolutely, what mistake?
That one? Oh no, I
No.
was going to say that one's attached, but it's not. Okay.
You're a mistake.
All right.
Yeah. Bonnie says, I agree with your assessment by Annie. That's good to know. I sense weekend bag. It's beautiful. Yeah, actually, it's a good bag for, I think, taking to a retreat and things. And just as a little bit of a foreshadowing, on this week's So Chatty, the newest one, the one we just did, but the next one we're doing, we're going to talk about transporting your crap to a class or a retreat, you know, because maybe we'll be able to do those again at some point in time. Mary says, Jules, don't feel bad. This week I received a Christmas parcel from Australia. Where's that been sitting? Holy crap. Yeah.
Well, usually we get our stuff.
Yeah.
Like, we usually get it. But like I said, there has been a few things that I've ordered from the U.S. where it's taken at least a good month to get to me, if not longer.
Yeah.
And we had that a few times when I ordered a few things from Missouri Star, whereas it would just take an enormous amount of
Oh,
time
yeah,
to get
yeah.
done.
We've told that story before. I think Missouri Star's gotten better, though, because I think because I wrote to them about that, and they wrote right back to me. And at that point in time, that was about a year or so ago, they said they were aware of the problem, and they were looking in to do something to correct it. Now, I haven't ordered anything from them in a long time, so I don't know if that's correct or not. Teresa says, bags or boxes, all shapes and sizes, basically a box with handles. Yeah, essentially.
Yeah, more or less, yeah, I suppose.
If you learn how to make a box, you can make a bag.
Yeah.
I guess. Well, other things that I've been making, I'm on this little kick to get Christmas presents made in advance. Well, actually, I'm thinking of the ladies that work at Ultimate Sewing, because every year at Christmas I always make them something and take it down and give it to them, because they treat us well. Of course, they kind of have to, because if we stop spending money there, they'd have to fire somebody. But so I'm making these pin cushions. So with my 3D printer. So now this one you've probably seen before, because I have shown this. This is another one, this little owl. He's actually supposed to be a flower pot, but I make them into pin cushions because I think he's kind of cute. And I did him in rainbow filament. So, you know, he's multicolored ingredient sort of a thing. In fact, I did them all that I'm showing you in rainbow. I like this one. The bunny.
That should be an Easter present.
Yeah, I think the bunny, he turned out pretty good with that. Yeah, Easter bunny. And then this one's really a lot of fun. It's a Buddha. Oops. Buddha head. It's alive. It's alive. But or you can call him Pinhead. But actually, I've got one on my printer right now, a bigger one. He's supposed to be a flower pot, but I shrunk him down a little bit for a pin cushion. That's what all these things are. Of course, my famous thimble, which you have seen in various sizes, from trash can size to my pin cushions on this are a little bigger. I decided to make this one a little smaller. And this one is supposed to be a pineapple. He turned out to look more like a cactus, which is fine too. And this one's kind of cute, little thing. They would sit on your sewing machine very nicely, you know. In fact, you could put a magnet on the bottom of them or something, you know, and have them sit up on top or whatever. But they're just kind of fun things to do. And I thought, you know, I'm going to look for other designs that I can do. But most of them, are, as I said, are basically meant to be flower pots. I just shrink them down a little bit and then put in my stuffing. So, Teresa says, Buddha with pins, isn't that voodoo? Yeah, it could be. Well, hi, Andy. Andy, I never got a message back from my email to you about being interviewed. You're not getting off the hook, hon. No, Jeannie's going to be working on you too. So, and for those of you that may not know what I'm talking about, I have started a new series where I'm interviewing subscribers to the channels about their crafting, quilting, sewing, textile, art, mixed media journey. And I would love to interview any of you. So just drop me an email. Jeannie can attest to the fact that I don't bite. And I am doing Teresa next week as well. So, yeah, I'm getting a few. Bonnie, I would love to interview you. Actually, any of you. I mean, come on, people. Get your half hour of fame in here on my channel or whatever. Yeah, Jeannie, I saw that. Nancy's Notions Company has moved to Hamilton. Yeah, I saw that.
We were watching a Missouri Star presentation and saw that.
Yeah. Well, Andy, I want to interview you. If I have to come down to where you live when COVID's over and drag you quick, kicking and screaming in front of my camera, I will. And see, Jeannie's still alive. She had no problem with it. So... yeah, someday, Teresa, I want to get to Missouri Star, and I'm going to take like a big bag of money because I have a feeling I'm not going to get out of their life.
It seems to me, from what we were watching the other day, that they seem to be broadening their horizon, broadening their scope in the town, because it looks like they're getting into more crafting and more like needlework and stuff like that. You know, I guess because people that sew or that do quilts don't always do quilts. They do other things like knitting and maybe crafting and maybe like garment sewing and stuff like that. So it sounds to me like they're broadening their horizons. Like, why not have one town where you can spend all your money?
Yeah, really. But hi, Patsy. Andy says, "Can I wear a disguise?" You can wear anything you want. just
clothes.
Just clothes. Yeah, do have clothes on. It's not that kind of interview. Yeah, that's someplace I really want to go to someday, but not going to happen this year. Nope. It's gonna. At the earliest, it's going to be in a year's time, probably. I don't know. We'll see what happens. We have a lot of plans for a year's time, maybe.
We'll go everywhere.
Yeah, we're going everywhere. You get out. I'd need to rob a bank if I went to Missouri Star. Yeah, I know. That's the thing. I could just hear it going ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. Do you have anything to declare at the border as we came across? No.
As your car's overstuffed, right?
No, didn't buy anything.
Didn't buy anything.
Bought a couple of pieces of cloth. Yeah, yeah. Teresa says, a place to drop cash for sure. That town was nearly dead before Missouri Star grew. Yeah. Hi, Cindy.
Yeah, I'm sure it certainly livened up that town.
Yeah, really. But anyway, so that's what I've been working on. And as I said, we've done the interviews on Idiot Quilter. I've got one up. Second one goes up on Tuesday, and that's Jeannie. And then there'll be another one the week after that. But I need some more people to interview. I may be forced to interview Walter.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that could be horrible. But anyway, so don't make me do that. So, okay. So what did we do this week? We went for a walk in the woods. Yeah. This was a different woods than we walked in last time. And tomorrow on my vlog, I've got a video of it.
Yeah, and as we were walking in the woods, I kept hearing kept hearing stuff falling from from the trees, it was like it was raining. But it wasn't raining, it
Yeah,
was clear sky.
Yeah.
But I noticed like we're covered in caterpillars.
Yeah, suddenly you'd walk down the trail and there'd be a caterpillar hanging in front of your face off a single strand of whatever.
Yeah, so then I read this week in one of the conservation areas, they warned people that I guess they were doing aerial spraying in the forests to take care of gypsy moth
caterpillars.
So I have a feeling that they were gypsy moth caterpillars that were falling from the trees.
Well, gypsy moth caterpillars will eat the canopy of everything. So that's why they're doing that. So that's basically were there. They were dying and dropping on the ground. Few of the lucky ones caught themselves on a web or something, but with that kind of thing. But it was kind of weird because it sounded like rain, like light rain hitting the leaves, and it was dead caterpillars, I guess. Anyways, a couple of times they'd land on you too, so you're brushing them off. And of course there was other wildlife. Apparently there's bears they have in the woods. They warn you at the beginning and they give you a list of things you should do if you run into a bear. Says probably unlikely that you will, but just in case, don't try to feed it. Yeah, right here. Would you like my arm? Yeah. Hello, was that good? Oh, why don't you try a leg? It's meatier.
Actually, no, we didn't see or hear any cicadas out there. Might not be hot enough yet.
No, that's true. We didn't hear any cicadas.
No.
But usually you'll hear cicadas when it gets really, really hot. So it was actually very pleasant, the walk. This particular conservation area, the trail was very nicely groomed.
The only thing is that there was a lot of, we weren't how to, there was a warning about poison ivy.
Yeah.
And I really wasn't 100% sure what poison ivy was.
We're city boys, you know.
So I knew it had 3 leaves.
Yeah.
So I had a plant identifier on my phone, so that I had a trial for. So I pointed it at a 3-leaf plant, and sure enough, it says it was poison ivy. So, and there was a lot of it. So.
Yeah. Well, you see, if my father had been with us, well, he's passed away 7 years ago, but if my father had been out there with us, he would have spotted instantly because he used to work for Ontario Hydro, and when he was much younger, he used to go out into forested areas and have to clear some of the bush away because they built the huge hydro towers in that, and he'd get into poison ivy, and he would be all summer long. My father looked pink and crusty because he had calamine lotion, and I don't know if you know what calamine lotion is, but it is a thick pink ointment that you spread on things like poison ivy and that kind of stuff, and it sort of dries it up and stops you from itching yourself to death and relieves the rash and that kind of thing. So he used to go through it by the gallon jar of it. And you can get poison ivy even if you don't touch the leaves, if you're in a close vicinity of them and you're someone who's very susceptible to poison ivy, because apparently the poison that's in poison ivy can get into your bloodstream and can stay with you for the rest of your life in your bloodstream. And so it will react. Again, it can be reactivated if the person with it in their bloodstream comes close enough, even though they haven't touched the plant, the poison ivy. And my dad was like that. That was just a way of life. So you'd think I know what poison ivy looked like, but all I remember was he'd say, if it's 3 leaves, don't touch it. So, but whatever.
Well, yeah, I forgot about ticks. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, we weren't on the ground.
No, we weren't. Like, the path was very well cleared, and we weren't walking in through the... I mean, I'm not doing that anyways. Pepto-Bismol, Patsy says, for the skin. Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like. Yeah, my father used to swear by it. I don't know. I remember as a kid, I think I did get poison ivy at one point in time, too, a few times in my life. And, yeah, my father would be down there just plastering this goop on you. And it stains your bed sheets and everything else with it. My mother used to curse that as well. But it did, well, at least for us, it did relieve the itching and the irritation of it all. But, it may work for some people, it may not work for others. I don't know if you can even buy it anymore.
I don't know. I've never used it.
I've never really looked for it, so I don't know. But anyways, so we did a walk in the woods. That was our healthy thing for the week. Yep. Walked a whole 3 point what?
3.5 kilometers.
Yeah, well, 3.5 kilometers. Sounds far. That's about
2 miles.
2 miles. Wow. Not that far. Anyways, so update on the YouTube ad situation. Can't do anything about it. And it seems to be hit and miss. I've had a few people write to me and say that there was 15 ads on one of my videos. Another one said there's one every 3 minutes. Another one wrote only saw 2 ads and it was near the end of a video. Myself watching other people's videos, it seems to be, yes, I think there definitely is an increase in the number. And it is annoying. And nothing we can do about it, so we're just going to have to get used to it, everybody. Andy says it's still around. Have a bottle in her medicine cabinet. Oh, okay. Of calamine lotion. Don't drink it. Don't mix it up with your Pepto-Bismol. Ooh. Ugh. I don't know if that stuff's poisonous or not. Well, you put it on your skin, so
yeah,
it's
well,
probably
maybe
not.
poisonous.
But I don't think it's a good idea to drink it. Okay, so what's newsworthy in our end of the world? Well, guess what? As of Friday, this past Friday, we opened up, sort of.
Sort of.
It's step 1, which involves what?
You can have restaurant patio dining, but not indoor dining. And it's
and it's regulated at
4 people per table. And it has to be like.
And there's supposed to be people from your same household.
Yeah, and then only 10 people at a party outside, no indoor party.
Hi, Maggie.
15%, I think, in
50% in stores and places of worship.
I think it's 25% in stores.
I thought it was only 15% on step 1 because that's what they were complaining about.
Well, personally, I have not seen any store adhering to the number.
Yeah.
And then we learned today there was a big house party.
Yeah.
Close to where we live.
Yeah, in our general area, not really next door to us or anything, but in within about a kilometer and a half.
Unfortunately, they found there's one 6-year-old girl went missing during the party and found she had drowned in a pool.
She drowned in the pool. Yeah. They had more than 10 people at this party. So you know what was going on. This area that was located is not one of the better areas of Oshawa.
It's actually just a few streets over.
Yeah, but most of the houses there are semis or row housing.
Well, this part of that part had their huge houses.
Oh, was it that part of it? So the part where some friends of ours live, in that end. Oh, okay.
No, it's at the north end. It's in the brand new section.
Oh, I thought it was more in the south end, in the older
brand
section.
New section.
Oh, geez.
It looks like it's about a 4,000 square foot house.
Well, the cops came, didn't they? Well, I guess once they found
did.
Yeah, with the whole bit. Well, I hope they got charged with the party thing, and then of course, they've lost a kid. Like put it, just stupid things. People still aren't getting it. We would expect that kind of behavior in Manitoba or Alberta, because and then that's where all the stupid people live. Apparently.
I thought, was it on Thursday? I was looking for something at Lowe's, and I found it it listed that they had it in stock at a different store than I was in. So I thought, well, okay, instead of going there and taking a look for it, I'll just order it online for a pickup. So today I got
Hi, Janice.
A response from Lowe's that says, oh, it's not in stock and here's your refund. Yeah. So then I looked at the store online again, and it's the stuff that they told me isn't in stock is still listed as in stock on their website. Yeah.
I want to back up for just a second because I realized there's somebody on here from Edmonton. And I said the stupid people live in Alberta. Do I mean that? Yeah, I do. I'm sorry. I mean, it's a whitewash kind of statement, okay, general. But because what we're hearing here in Ontario is there are people out in Alberta and in Manitoba who are blatantly not following the rules and feel it's their right not to wear masks, and they're not getting the vaccine. So I don't understand that. So that to me is stupid. So I don't know. Now, of course, the media always spins things, and exaggerates things as well. But Geez, but here in Ontario we have our stupids. Obviously, we just told you about one that resulted in a death. And not a death by COVID. Well, actually, it probably, you could say it was a death caused by COVID because these people were reacting to the step one open up.
Well, they see step one, we're opening up again, and that means we can do whatever we want.
I mean,
and that's the problem all along there is that when they say it's sort of a reopening, they think they can just go wild and do anything they want.
Yeah, and no. And then, what was it you said you saw the other day out at HomeSense? We weren't at HomeSense.
Well, no, one of the next door neighbors was saying that they went to a grocery store that was near HomeSense, and they it was like 8:30 in the morning, and they went to the grocery store, and she saw that in a HomeSense, which is just a home furnishing type store that has like cheaper type stuff in it, that they had a huge lineup that went around the block to get in. Yeah. And I said, well, first of all, I don't stand in lineups for anything. I have to be pretty desperate to get into a store to stand in a lineup.
But it's HomeSense. Oh my God! I can get pieces of wall art for a ridiculous amount of money. I can get a rug to go with it, and a candle vase, and dishware, and outdoor patio, and I need that. It's essential. It's essential.
I might be that I might stand in a lineup that goes into a grocery store for as long as it's not a long time that I have to stand in a lineup. But I'm not standing in a lineup for a home furnishing store.
Well, this makes me like, okay, you mean to tell me through COVID you've been going through HomeSense withdrawal? Well, okay, maybe some people do. I don't know. Anne says she noticed an increase in the ads also. Do you mean ads in for the stores to sell you stuff? Or do you mean ads for being careful still that we're not out of this COVID thing yet?
You're talking about ads for YouTube.
Oh, yeah, that could be. That's probably more it, right, Ann? Ads for, yeah. Okay, that makes sense now. I see what you're saying. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm a little late to the game. Yeah, I'll have another drink, might as well, because my brain is not functioning. Walter will be back. He's got to get me a libation. But anyways, I don't know. Now, I'm starting to suffer from anxiety attacks when I do go out, because we've been isolated for so long. I'm not jumping at the gun to get out there and shop and things. I haven't had the second shot yet, and that's the other thing we want to talk a little bit about, is the whole shot thing. It is so confusing right now in Ontario. There are so many mixed messages. Next week will be 10 weeks since we had the first shot and we got the AZ. But now they're saying, well, you can mix and match, and you don't have to wait 12 weeks if you've on AstraZeneca. You can get your AstraZeneca in 8 weeks' time. But then other reports are telling you that it's more effective if you wait the 12 weeks. And then they're saying, well, if you want, you can go get Moderna or Pfizer. And some reports are saying, yeah, actually that combination as your second shot is good. It's better. Other ones are saying, well, if you can avoid mixing them, you shouldn't mix them. What do you do? What do you do? Nobody seems to have the answer for you. And the systems are so screwed up here for booking a shot.
Yeah, booking a shot is really convoluted here. To do it. We have mass immunization clinics, and you go there, and it says that they're for Pfizer and Moderna shots, but not if you've had your first AstraZeneca shot. And then in another spot, it says for you to go if you've had AstraZeneca as your first shot, then you should fill in the form here, but it's going to the same clinics as the mass immunization clinics. So it's really nuts. Yeah. And then they're saying that if you had your first shot as AstraZeneca, you should be going to a pharmacy to get your second shot. And
so it's Russian roulette with the medicine, with the medication, the vaccinations. I mean, you don't know.
But they're buying it. The problem is that you can go get your shot after 8 weeks for AstraZeneca, but all the
all the research says.
All the research says that after 8 weeks, you won't get as high of an immune response as you will after 12 weeks. Like it says, if you go after 8 weeks or whatever, you might get a 60% efficiency rate. But if you wait the whole 12 weeks, you get an 87% efficiency rate from their tests. So what do? Do you go after 8 weeks and you get what you get, or you wait 12 weeks and get a better immune
The bottom line for me is they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
They have been playing around with their terminology for all this stuff and with their instructions for it all. They've just been screwing us left and right. And they've been screwing us left and right because they don't have a bloody clue.
Yeah.
They don't know. So I don't know. I'm not going to get into a panic. I mean, next door neighbor rang our doorbell the other day saying that friends of his had just called him and said there was a pop-up clinic in another part of our town, and that there was no lineup or anything, so if we wanted to get our second shot, because they had just gotten their second shot, we could do that. Well, thank you for the information. But Walter looked it up. That pop-up clinic was what, for kids?
Yeah, it was for people that were 11 to 17 and their parents that had not received their first shot. And it was not for second shots. But then they went down and got their second shots.
Yeah, and they're in their 70s.
Yeah, and they had Pfizer as their first shot.
Yeah, so Bonnie, who do you believe?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's so confusing. Yeah, they were going to give the AZ that was out of date.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. They also said that the AZ stuff was supposed to expire at the end of May, and then all of a sudden they said that the government said that, well, we're extending the expiry date on it. It's like going to the grocery store and they're slapping a new expiry date on that cake that you were going to buy.
Yeah. Well, you know something? Like, okay, I have been known to eat food after best before date because my theory is if it isn't green and fuzzy, it's still good. But I don't think that philosophy necessarily works with medicine. I'm not sure about that. So, Bonnie says, I had AZ 9 weeks ago and I'm taking Pfizer this week, coming for a second shot. I feel just as intelligent. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been thinking of wanting to get the Pfizer shot because of the I had a couple of weird felt problems after the AZ shot. So he didn't have any problems.
I didn't have any problem, but he did. But then he'll cry over anything.
Yeah.
He's a hypochondriac. Joanne says, I'm a nurse in Australia. Personally, I'd get same vaccine as the first. I would wait the 12 weeks for a second shot also. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. In fact...
Well, coming Tuesday, we're at 10 weeks. So.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll make decisions.
We'll make a decision this week.
Then, whatever, about that and see what's going on.
See what we can get.
But we are going to get a second shot come hell or high water. So, unlike some parts of Canada where they're going, I'm not getting a shot at all. Don't need that stuff. It's government propaganda. Well, sometimes, you wonder if it is.
Yeah.
Maybe the conspiracy theories aren't that wrong.
Maybe they're just implanting a chip in us.
I know. Yeah, that's it. They're putting a chip in all of us. Well, I'd welcome a chip. As long as I can figure out how to use it on other people, I'd welcome a chip. Yeah.
Yeah, Bonnie, I can't see how it's going to be a problem getting Pfizer as a second shot because, I mean, it was okay for a first shot. Does AstraZeneca cause a problem to get as first shot another shot of Pfizer? I don't know. Actually,
with the number of people in the medical field that are on here today, I know what I could do to upset you all, but I'm not going to say it because I don't want to get in that discussion. I was just going to say, how many of you nurses out there get a flu shot? Okay, we'll leave that discussion alone for now. How many of you smoke? We'll leave that discussion for another time. But what we want to talk about is the main point today. And Bonnie, this was an answer to a question you brought up last week. You asked us, and you said, is it too personal? No, it's not too personal. Because right now in June, it is Pride Month. And Pride Month is Education Month. It is not just, it gets overshadowed with the whole idea of the big Pride Parade where you're going to see all kinds of people wearing next to nothing. Hot guys on floats. Lesbians with their boobs hanging out and riding motorcycles, and you're going to see people leading other people around by leashes and chains and spanking them. Okay, that does happen. That isn't the main focus or should not be the main focus of Pride June. The main focus of Pride June is on educating. And who are we educating? Well, who we affectionately refer to as straights. Okay, the heterosexual people out there. Actually, it's not so much that we're educating them. We're trying to educate all the bigots, the Christian reformers who are so sure that we're all going to go to hell, all the people out there that have a completely ignorant knowledge of what it is to be gay. So that's what Pride Month is all about. So one of the things you're going to hear a lot about during this month, if not before, is the coming out process. It's kind of like, it's almost as though it's a rite of passage. It's like a bar mitzvah in some people's minds. It's like coming of age.
It's kind of different for everybody.
Yeah.
But it's kind of the same too.
Yeah.
So.
But what I mean is people hear about it and wonder, well, what's this coming out? What's the big to-do about the coming out and all that kind of stuff. So we thought we'd explain what coming out is and tell you how we came out. So what's coming out? Coming out means you reveal what your true self is. You live your truth, as the expression goes today about that. You have to understand that many, many gay people, and although in our country in Canada, being gay is not a crime, and you're actually supported by the law and everything like that in our society, so we live in a very great country when it comes to gay rights. And when I say gay, I mean everybody that falls under the umbrella of the LGBTQ community, okay? But I'll just use gay because it's easier to say. You wouldn't think it's a big deal. It's still a big deal coming out, because most people come out, well, now I think people are coming out at a much earlier age. I mean, I taught kids in high school who were openly gay or lesbian or bi or whatever, and bully for them. I really admire them. But when I went to school in the 70s, the early 70s, when I went into high school in 1971, there was no way you would ever even suggest something that you might be gay. I mean, because that was a death sentence at all levels by everybody, from your teachers, from your parents, from the other people you went to school with, all of that. So you kept that quiet.
Even as you got a little bit older, you had to worry about the fact that you could be fired from your job if somebody found out you were gay and stuff like that. So, I mean, you didn't really hear about it as often, but in certain sensitive professions like teaching and stuff like that, it could be.
There were grounds for firing.
Yeah.
It was for me. When I got my first teaching job, I started teaching in 1981. At that point in time, if they had known that I was gay, I would have been fired. No questions asked, nothing to protect me. Now, that has changed a lot in Canadian society since then. But at that point in time, no. When I was going to teachers college, I knew other people that were gay in teachers college. We did not discuss it. We didn't talk about it. No one actually said, yes, I'm gay, and everything like that. It was because we wouldn't graduate it.
Well, mind you, at that point in time, you weren't necessarily comfortable.
Well, that's the other point too. Is at that age, I was not comfortable with like anybody knowing. I didn't want to know either. Because really, I had the attitude that I've been told by society that I'm a deviant, that this is wrong. I'm going to be burnt in hell for this. I'm going to be subjugated to prejudice, to say the least, to being beaten up as well, and things like that. So the coming out is a big thing, because what somebody is doing when they come out, it isn't so much that they're telling other people that they're gay. They're telling themselves they're gay and that they're owning it. And that's the first stage of coming out. The first stage of coming out is not going off and telling your closest friends or your family that you are gay. It's saying to yourself, looking in a mirror and saying, This is who I am. And you know, at that moment, when you're able to do that, it seems like a great weight has been lifted off your shoulders. But it's not over at that point. Because it's one thing to come out to yourself and accept that, but it's no good if you're going to continue to hide. So that's when you come out to other people. And people have a variety of ways of doing this. You know, some will come out to their families first. Some will come out to their very best friend first. You know, like that. And as time goes by, the coming out process isn't something you decide one day, okay, this is mark this date on my calendar, this is my coming out day, yay. No. Your coming out goes on for, literally can go on for years. To a certain extent, we are still coming out.
Yeah.
Even by discussing this with you people is one part of another part of that coming out process. Being able to do what we're doing right now, to freely talk about the fact that we are gay men and not cringe at that or worried about what you think. Because quite frankly, what you think about that isn't our problem. It's your problem. If you don't accept it, you don't accept it. I probably cannot change your mind about that, and I'm not going to waste my energy trying to do that. But I will use my energy to educate you about some things, because, hey, we live it. We know it. Sure, you can read about things like this in books and see lots of very romantic movies about the whole process, or comedies and stuff like that. But that's not real.
Our journey is maybe different. I think it's maybe different because of our age group than maybe somebody that's just realizing it now.
But actually, even the younger ones today, even though they might come out, it may be a better environment for them to come out, there is still for them, there is the apprehension, the fear. There are very few young gay people who just instantly are all that in a bag of chips. I'm gay, get over it. You know, I'm proud, I'm here, I'm queer, you know, all that kind of stuff. There's still the hesitation in themselves because nobody wants to be hated, really, especially young people. Mm-hmm. Young people, it's all about, you know, how you fit into your community. So we would tell you what our process was or what happened. Okay, so I guess I'll tell mine first because mine's a little bit more involved than what Walter's was, and I came out sooner than Walter did. Now, how old was I when I came out? Well, I was 30 when I came out. And who did I come out to first? Well, I inadvertently came out to my brother first, and my sister, and that was by accident. And I'm not going to go into the long story about that, how that happened, but it did involve alcohol. And going up and visiting my sister on her university campus and having a really good time that weekend, and yeah. And then my brother found out. Never tell somebody that you're gay when they're driving a truck with their girlfriend sitting between the two of you and the whole bit. That's not really good. That could have been an accident. So how were they when they found out? Well, my sister was pretty good, although I did find out later that she had a lot of problems with it. Took her a long time. My brother, I don't know. I don't care. My brother lives in BC. I have very little contact with my brother for other reasons. And it's not quite as bad as I made it maybe just sound, but you know, it doesn't matter to me. It's like I said, it's not my problem. But the one problem that was really looming over my head was how to tell my parents. Now, I came out to myself. I was dating a girl who I thought that I was going to probably marry. And we had talked about that and everything. And I will not say anything negative about her because there's nothing negative to say about her. I really cared for her a great deal, and it was a really hard thing to do. But my thing was, I knew that I was not going to be able to make her happy or keep myself happy if I married her, because I knew damn well right, quite frankly, I'd be cheating on her, and that wouldn't be with another woman. So I broke it off, and I didn't tell her why I was breaking it off, and that was my first mistake. I didn't have the guts. But about a month later, I had to tell her. Circumstances were that I had to tell her, and I did. And it was at that moment that I told her that I realized that I'd be okay. I didn't know what my future was going to be. Gay life in 1982 was very underground still, even in Toronto. There was a gay district, but it was dark and it was dingy, and you knocked on certain doors and said, "Hi, Bubba sent me," kind of a thing. That was what the life was like in those days. Cops were still raiding bathhouses and all kinds of things. It was very seedy, very dark. At least that's what I thought it was like, and I did not want to be part of that world. So coming out, that was one of the problems. If I came out, then I was going to be part of that world, and I didn't want to be part of that world. I've since learned that that's not what it is, and the world can be anything you want to make of it. So then I needed to tell my parents. And now I figured my parents already knew, because my brother and sister knew. And I had said to them, "Do not tell mom and dad. I will tell mom and dad when I think the time is right. Do not tell them." But in my family, when you tell somebody not to tell somebody else, guess what they do? They immediately tell somebody else. Nobody keeps a secret in my family very well. So I kind of figured, just before I told my parents, that they would already have known. I armed myself with books. I mean, after all, I am a retired English teacher. Literature is my gun. And I read all these books about coming out to your family, coming out to your friends, coming out to your parents, how your parents may react with this. Got all these books, read them all, took them over with me the night I was decided that I was going to do this, sat my parents down and said, and up until this point in time, I had about a few months of very rough time with my parents where I was really not even speaking to them, which was kind of unusual in my family for something like that. But that's a story for another day or never. So I sat them down and I said, "Okay, you probably already know this, but I'm gay." There was silence. My mother then, and I had all these books, and my mother was a reader in those days, so I got these books for my mother because I knew my father probably wouldn't read them, because my father wasn't a reader, but I knew she would probably relay the information that was in them. Well, my mother had a reaction I didn't really expect, but it was textbook case. The textbooks had said, probably your mother will start to cry and start blaming herself because parents take this very personally because they raised you and they'll feel that they had done something wrong in bringing you up. Guess what? My mother was textbook case. She started to cry and she says, "I was so young when I had you. We didn't know what we were doing. We were kids ourselves and blah, blah, and it's our fault that you're this way." How do you answer something like that? Well, I tried my best. Tried to explain to my mother it had nothing to do with them. It was genetic. It was not, I didn't choose this lifestyle. It wasn't anything they had ever done in my upbringing that made me gay. You can't make somebody gay. My father thought he was more stoic about it. He said, "Well, it's a phase. You'll grow out of it." Well, Dad, I'm 30. Those aren't the kind of phases you have. I'm getting ready to have a midlife crisis in another few years. So, really not not a phase. So long story short, it took well over 10 years for my parents to get comfortable with the idea. Now, they were never not supportive, but they weren't like running off to the Pride Parade and P flag and carrying the flag and marching going, I'm, with the sweatshirt on saying, "My son's gay and I'm proud," or something like that. It wasn't anything like that. They treated us, both of us, they already knew Walter actually at the time. They just hadn't figured out that Walter was a little bit more than just my roommate, kind of a thing. So, but it took about 10 years. And even then, as I discovered when we got married, many years later, that my parents at our wedding, well, they might as well not have been there. In some ways, I regret even inviting them to our wedding, because they sat at a table, and I put with their friends that we had invited to our wedding, and they all sat there, and you thought somebody had died. Certainly wasn't your wedding face on there. But we had a good time, so it went on. Everybody else that was there seemed to have had a good time too. Now, coming out to people at school, well, what I told people at school for the longest time was, you know, they'd ask you, what'd you do on the weekend? I went out with friends. Where'd you go? Oh, we just did some bar hopping in Toronto. Oh, what bars did you go to? Well, yeah, it was true. I was out and I did bar hop, but I was hopping with gay bars, with gay people. I wasn't out there with a whole straight crowd, trying to hook up with some chick or anything like that. I was probably trying to hook up, but it wasn't that. But anyways, so I would just say, well, because, I didn't want to lose my job. I said, oh, yeah, I don't remember, we just all over the place, some places some of my friends knew. And I referred to Walter many times as a friend, as my friend. As time went by, they got to meet Walter, and they knew him. And then we made this big decision. We bought our first house together. We're both 30 at the time when we bought the house. Two 30-year-old men moving into a house together who always seem to be together, and you never see any females around with them, and you never hear about their dating life. So I pretty much figured the people that I worked with had it figured out, right? I mean, they're teachers after all. These are not stupid people. We were at a bar one night after school on a Friday night. We often did that. And we were speculating about a new guy that had been hired in the department, whether or not he was gay. And I was in this conversation too, and I was, well, I don't know, he does this and that, and I realized what a hypocrite I'm being. Here I am, kind of unofficially outing somebody that I don't know for sure whether he's gay or not, and turned out he actually, well, the verdict is still out on that one, even though he's got a child or a wife and a kid. But
yeah, like I think he's
well, we don't need to get into this discussion.
Yeah, I know. Like he got married and had a kid, and
which doesn't always mean
he sort
anything,
of said that he what was it?
I don't know. Let's not go there.
No,
that's digressing too far. Anyways, that's a story for another time, and it's not here. Anyways, what I was doing was I was speculating on somebody trying to play straight in this, and I realized, wait. I said to them, the reason I think that this individual is gay is because I am too. The needle came off the record player. The saloon doors swung back and forth like a Western. There was just this moment of frozen time where they looked at me and said nothing. And then suddenly, it was like snapped your fingers through. Well, that's okay. We know who you are. It doesn't bother us, blah, 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 and everything like that. And I looked at him and said, you guys really didn't have any clue, did you? I said, I thought you'd read all the signs. Well, no. I said, you've met Walter? Yeah, we like Walter. It's fine, yeah. Well, I said, okay. Anyways, they were fine with it. Never had any problems, nothing with them. They're still my friends today in that. And so that was many, many, many years ago. So no problems whatsoever. So that was another stage in the coming out. But is coming out done at that point? No. Because as I moved schools, each one I decided to become a little bit more open about it. To the point where I eventually got to, I ran the GSA in my school, Gay Straight Alliance. I started and ran it. I was openly gay with my students, with my staff, with my administration, everybody, because now they couldn't fire me anymore because we got something called the Human Rights Code in Canada that protects the LGBT community, amongst other things. And I don't bat an eye. When Walter and I got married, one of the hardest things was to say to people now, this is not my partner. I hated that term. You will hear that. In the gay community way back, there used to be two terms that people used for someone they were seeing on a regular basis. They were either their lover or they were their partner. I hated that word lover. I hate that word in whatever sense it's used in, because to me that word suggests sex. And there's so much more to being with somebody, and everybody knows this. If you're in a relationship, you know this. There's so much more to a relationship than the sex part. And two, partner sounded like a business arrangement. Didn't like either one of those. Friend sounds like, well, yeah, you can be a friend, but it's like not as committed as the other. So when we could get married, and we did, I could use the term husband. Now, in society, people don't have to guess. If you meet somebody for the first time, what I do to break the ice and to let them know that, yes, we are gay, I don't say, hi, my name is Stephen, I'm gay. I say, hi, I'm Stephen, this is my husband, Walter. And right then and there, they get it. And you can also assess them very well if you met them for the first time to see whether or not they'll flinch. If they flinch, you know, oh, problem. But 9 times out of 10, nobody flinches anymore. People just go on, and that's the way we want it to be. So that's how I came out. But Walter came out differently.
Actually, maybe we should leave that to next week because we're almost at our time.
Oh, well, what? How long do you need to talk about it?
Well, longer than you probably.
Oh, yeah, I guess so. Okay, so part 2 next week of Walter's coming out story. So stay tuned for that one. So now let's just back up here and see what everybody is saying, because I'm missing the conversation here. We've got ticks, okay. COVID. Okay, just moving down here. Joanne said, I sewed my friend a pair of pride curtains that she also uses as a pride flag during parade day. They were a gift from me. She loves them. That's nice of you, Joanne. That shows your support. Andy says, had a college friend who told me in a serious tone he had something to tell me. I was scared because I thought he had cancer. Turned out he was gay. Boy, was I mad because of the scare. Yeah, there you go. That's a good one. You say to him, oh God, that's all? You're just gay? I thought you had terminal illness. Oh, thank God. Therese says, I lived such a sheltered life that I didn't even know what gay was before the AIDS epidemic. Yeah, you know, and that was one thing my mother said too when I came out to her. She says, well, what about this AIDS thing and whatnot? And I said to her, oh, Mom, don't worry about that. No, I said, I didn't want to get into a discussion with her about the AIDS thing because there was so much misinformation at the time. And even us in the gay community, we didn't know much either. It's kind of like COVID.
Yeah, I know. Like, I mean, when we were going out in Toronto with friends during the AIDS epidemic, I mean, there were times where I was uptight about even like touching a doorknob and stuff like that.
Or licking a toilet seat.
Yeah, I mean, nobody knew exactly how we figured it was sexually communicated, but it didn't really know for sure at that point in time. So,
and there was all kinds of misinformation, and there's still a certain amount of misinformation about AIDS out there. But things have changed.
I talked to somebody a few years ago that seemed to think that just the fact that you were gay, something happened to you in your makeup that would cause you to have AIDS.
Yeah. So actually, that's probably another conversation for this month to talk about, from a personal point of view, how the AIDS epidemic affected us. We were lucky, very lucky, but we know people who weren't. We have people that from our lives too that have passed away because of AIDS and everything like that. So that'll be a good discussion too this month to talk about that. And there are a lot of parallels between AIDS and the way it's been handled by the governments of the world and COVID as well. The only difference between AIDS and COVID is the fact that nobody says that COVID is only a certain group's disease.
Well, the other part of the problem with AIDS was in the early years of AIDS, before they found the treatment, if you got it, it was a death sentence.
Yeah.
Right?
It's not now. But we're going to save this conversation because this is a major conversation for maybe next week or the week after. We'll see how that goes out. I mean, next week we have Walter's coming out. That could be the whole show in itself. Who knows? So stay tuned for that next week. Teaser. Joanne says, I'm so proud that both my sons, age 21 and 22, have gay friends, supported them during high school, and advocate for them and with them. They both also assisted with fundraising activities. And you want to know something? The young people today are so much more willing to accept that, which is good. That's good. I mean, sure, there's still people in that age group who, because of their upbringing or whatever, have a belief system that doesn't allow for this to be seen for what it really is. It's just people living their lives, not out to harm anybody else or anything like that. But I'm so glad that your sons, that says something about you, Joanne, as a mother. Because I am sure that your sons would not be that supportive if they had learned at home that gay people are something that should be shunned in society. So bully for you. Bonnie says, very interesting, and I'm sorry that you had to go through this. People should be able to live their life authentically. Actually, Bonnie, going through that, if I had to do it all over again, I would do that over again. I would do it differently maybe, but it is something that I think you have to do because, you know, back in the 60s, people were always going around talking about finding themselves, whatever that meant, and that kind of thing. And that's really what that was. It was an awakening for me. And it awakened me to a lot of things. Not just about gay life or the gay world or anything like that, but it opened my eyes up to differences in other people as well. Mm-hmm. What other people go through, you know, what minorities in our society go through, how it is to be treated differently by other people in mainstream society, how it is to be dictated to and told that this is what you should think or this is what you should do because this is what we think you should do and things like that. So it really opened up my mind to that, and I think it was a process that I needed to go through, and I'm glad I did go through it. Well, thank you, Jeannie. I'm proud to be your friend too. I just wish, Jeannie, you and I lived in the same town because we would be like, well, people would see us coming. Videos such as this and chatting and tells you about subjects wherever they are too is education so vital. Yeah, that's why we're talking about it. Yes, Marilyn, that's our point. My children and grandchildren are so more accepting of sexuality, color, or anything that could be the other. Yeah, and that's a good thing, isn't it? That's what we should be aiming for. And once all of us old fuddy-duddies are off the face of the earth, hopefully there won't be any need for people to go through a coming out process. They'll just be. Simple as that.
Thanks, Andy.
I'm sure contrasting colors really. Everybody likes the contrasting color.
Yeah.
I just think you need a bowling ball to go with it.
Yeah.
But, you know, whatever. But anyway, so that's what we thought we'd talk about this week. Next week, we'll do part 2. Janice says, my grandson's having a hard time coming out. You're worried about what people are going to say. Yeah. And
is having, she says.
Is having, yeah.
At a point in time, you get to the point in time where if somebody says something negative to you, then they're not worth hanging around with.
Yeah, that's the way I've looked at over the years, is that first of all, I don't have to live up to anybody else's expectations. The only expectations I have to live up to are my own. And I do set my expectations for myself very high. But
there are a few, during my process, there were a few people that didn't see eye to eye, didn't accept it, and they disappeared from my life. And so I felt that they weren't really, really, really good friends to me.
No.
If they couldn't accept that. So
yeah, I mean, that's the way I look at it. You really weren't a friend. So, c'est la vie. Move on. Why waste my energy on somebody who doesn't want to be my friend, who doesn't want to accept me for who I am? I don't have to do that. I can just say goodbye. It's as simple as that. So, anyways, that was, I hope that helped shed some light on it. I mean, we're very open about our life and talking about it. I have no problem talking about things that most people would think are too personal or something like that. I mean, if I find something that's too personal...
if you do say something that's too personal, we'd say, well, that's too personal.
We'll just say, I'm sorry, I'm not going to answer that. But I feel that if somebody's has gotten up the nerve to ask you a question that might be a little personal, it means that they genuinely want to know. They're looking for an answer. They're looking for education. They're looking for more knowledge for themselves. And, you know, I was a teacher, so knowledge is my business. If someone isn't bringing something positive to my life, then bye-bye too. Yeah, exactly, Bonnie. Yeah. There's two... You can waste way too much energy, and I know this from experience. You can waste way too much energy on trying to help somebody else out who won't help you. It's a two-way street. I've been used in my life by various people over it. I'm gullible. What can I say? But, you know, you have to move on, and you have to look after yourself first, too. And you're welcome, Bonnie. Okay, people. So, that's it time for today, and we'll talk about this some more next week and maybe start venturing into what it was like to kind of come out in the age of AIDS as well, and carry on with so what's a pride parade like from being in one, because we have been in the pride parades in various ways. In fact, we actually square danced in one, but that's a story for later. So hope everybody has a good week. Thanks for joining us, and watch for my vlog, watch for the Idiot Quilter and So Chatty, and the interview series as well. Lots coming up in the next week to keep you entertained. Okay, so see everybody later.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Say goodbye, Walter.
Bye.